It's the 90s and it's time for a multitude of puzzle-based games. Plotting is a 1989 arcade game by Taito during that time when everyone had seen Tetris and wanted to produce their own puzzle games, quite similar to Puzznic. Ocean picked up the license and put the game out in 1990 on the ST Amiga, Spectrum, Commodore 64 and Amstrad GX4000 cartridge. So we start on the C64 version, and while this game was reviewed by the magazines and advertised extensively as a cartridge release, it was never actually put out and was only recovered in relatively recent years from some floppy disks which the game resided on. You can tell it was a cartridge game because there's quite long loading times between some of the screens on the hacked version available online. But ostensibly the game must have been complete because they sent it to all the magazines for review. And yeah, there was a big push for puzzle type games at this time. Everyone had one out, and Ocean also had Puzznic out at the same time as this. So what you do, it's a block matching game, and you have the little egg thing on the left, and you bounce your blocks off the walls to hit matching blocks. And the block you get next is the one that's next to the one you've just destroyed. And you've got to destroy in each level the amount that's on the right hand side. So we've got 18 to get rid of. At the moment, 17 left. There's a jolly tune that plays all the way through, and the backgrounds vary as you go through the game. And obviously the levels get more progressively difficult. You get a number of misses allowed in each level, but you can also end up in situations where you can't get any further because there's no matching blocks available, in which case when that happens the game is over, because there's only one life when that happens. You start off with this super block which will blow up anything you want, and then you can see I've got next now, and I hit the X, I get a green one back, and I'll get a Taito logo, and I get a green block black, and so on. So it's called plotting because you've got to plot ahead, plan ahead. And you can use those blocks at the top there to bounce your blocks down. Moved it on. A little bit of loading, so there'll be a different background now. And if you've seen this in the arcade, there is a two-player mode, but the C64 and Spectrum versions don't have this. It lacks the arcade-style action, I guess, of games like Clax, which get faster and faster and more furious. This has a lot in common with those games you see everyone playing on their phones these days, where you touch things to match them and it all seems incredibly boring, and you think, really, is this what computer games have come to? And yeah, the beginnings of it are here. The idea, I guess, was to attract non-gamers onto level 16. So now I've got these block things up the top there that are tubes. Now, you can only get items through those that go through them. You can't hit them from the side. And the time limits get a little bit more tighter, and you get more blocks to destroy. There's nothing really drawing you in here. Not like Clax, where you've got to achieve different things, like doing diagonals and making X's and so on. And you get different blocks. It just seems to be more and more of the same thing. Okay, you can try and get different further every time, but it just lacks that variety, that addictiveness that Clax, even Tetris has. Over to the Amstrad GX4000. Yes, this is one of the Ocean games that were put onto cartridge for Christmas 1990 for the Amstrad Pluses and the GX4000. There is no standard CPC version, so there should be no compromises here. There should be lots of colours, lots of sprites, and so on. Don't know what your character's supposed to be. It looks a bit like Dizzy with no arms or legs, which I don't really want to think about, to be honest. And you can see a big difference from the C64 version here because the screen's split in two, because you get the two-player action that you're going to see on the 16-bit versions. Interesting, if you look very closely, when your egg or character has a sprite, it's higher resolution than the ones that you're hitting on the right. And that's because it appears to be using the CPC Plus's hardware sprites for that smooth movement. But when it hits the right-hand side, it converts into a normal sprite, which is low resolution. So that X looks high res, and then it transforms, but the X's over there are lower res. I can see why they've done it, because they want that enhanced movement, but you would have thought they would have matched the sprites a bit better. Lots of lovely colour here on the CPC Plus version, or GX4000 if you're playing it on that. It certainly looked lush when you saw the magazine screenshots of it, but it still lacks that pull of games like Clax. And of course Clax is available on the GX4000 in a very slightly enhanced version over the standard CPC. So little enhanced most people wouldn't even notice it, but it does have Clax enhancements. This is what two-player mode looks like. This is the demo, and you both have a time limit to beat. So it's a question of who wins first. Over the Sinclair Spectrum. Same intro as the other versions. Cracked by Ramsoft. No two-player mode, as per the C64. And the thing is, right, this is the kind of game that people would write and send into your Sinclair for inclusion on the cover tape. It's that kind of thing where the budget houses would have probably gone, yeah, this isn't going to sell that well, so it ends up on your Sinclair or Sinclair user as an extra game on the cover tape. And it's fun for 5 minutes, but I guess if you like block matching games, you might find it interesting. I just don't. And I'm not averse to puzzlers. It's all competent enough. The problems with this all relate to the arcade version. It's just not a compelling offering. Although oddly, Amiga Power, when we come to the Amiga version, gave this game the, well, I think it's the 25th best game of 1990. Which is bizarre, really. I'd much rather play Puzznik. Well, that's even slower paced than this, but it's just a more compelling offering. You get a chance more to think about more about what you're doing. And the Spectrum version has no backgrounds at all. It's competent enough. I just can't see it. I think it's Ocean either got this in a bulk deal with Puzznik and some other Taito games, or they just thought, yeah, let's buy all the puzzlers we can and stick those out. It doesn't even look like it was done by an in-house coding team at Ocean. Certainly none of the versions, I think. This looks like it was farmed out, while the other games, the other bigger games at Christmas, were dealt with in-house. And that's what happens. You've got no next move. That I've got no block that could come back that will be suitable. And that comes down to the planning ahead. But really, by that stage, you don't even care. Over to the Amiga, and this looks like it was done by Ocean France, or some contractors for them. And you do get extra modes in this game. You get a construction kit for extra excitement, and some instructions as well that tells you what you can do. I've explained it all. So here we go on the Amiga version, and you can see it's very similar to the GX4000 version, except you don't have the backgrounds. We're on an Amiga, and you're not getting the background on level 0. Perhaps we'll get it on level 1. But otherwise, it looks identical to what we saw on the GX4000, with a slightly higher resolution. Slightly better tune from the Amiga sound chip, but other than that, or none of that kind of mismatched sprites on the when you're pushing them into the other blocks. But yeah. You don't even get, I think of games like Lean Bean Machine and things like that, we get the satisfaction of setting up chains of stuff and planning ahead. They call this game plotting because you're supposed to be planning ahead. Is the background revealing itself slowly? The background might be revealing itself slowly on the 16-bit versions for added excitement. Sorry, I was falling asleep there. Yeah. You know, you think of Lean Bean Machine, Dr. Robotnik's Lean Bean Machine, I forget the name of the other. Pio, isn't it? That's it. Which is the better version. You get to set up all these chains. You get all that. You really are plotting ahead to win the game, plotting against a computer opponent, which is amazing. And this game is just relaxed. It's like, oh, go and play that. Go and play plotting. Go and play anything. Go and play Puzzle. Go and play Lean Bean Machine / Pio. They're far better games. You get a real sense of tension and building with those games that don't exist in plotting. Ocean have done a good job here porting the arcade machine. And yeah, that background is slowly revealing itself. But you can't put in what isn't there. Well, they've added a construction kit, evidently in there. Sorry, got no move, but you really don't care. And this is what two-player mode looks like on the Amiga. Again, trying to play it by myself, so not terribly easy. But you could have some fun with a friend with this. But again, I'd rather play against the computer than Pio, where it's really quite evil, that game at times. And each level has a different character you've got to battle against with different characteristics. Over to the Atari ST version, and it's nowhere near as polished as the Amiga version. It doesn't even appear to have the same tune. You would have thought it would have the tune from the GX4000 version. This tune's not the same as any of the other versions. It's like they've... It sounds like a knockoff of Token 2. But it repeats, oh, if they just run out of time with the music and gone, oh, quick, we've got some music, let's shove some other music on there. I'd rather play the GX4000 version than this ST version. It's... I don't know, perhaps all the other versions are wrong and the ST version's right. And this is the construction kit, so... You do the music, that tune is in the game actually, because it's on the menu screen here. So... You design your level, you put where you want your blocks, you put where you want your bricks, and you get bored, and you want it all to end badly. And yeah, it's a nice little bit extra value in the game, but really? So here we go, going to play our own level. It's still no more compelling. So that's plotting across the C64, GX4000, Spectrum, Amiga and ST. And Ocean had a pretty good game of porting this game to all of the systems. Special mention to the GX4000 version, it pretty much matches the 16-bit versions of the game. The problem is that plotting is a fundamentally flawed and boring game, especially when you compare it against its competitors. Would I play plotting rather than Clax? No. Would I play plotting rather than Puzznic? No. Would I rather play plotting than Pio / Dr. Robotnik's Lean Bean Machine? No way at all. This is a third-rate puzzle game that's been well ported by Ocean to all the systems. But the problem is, you can't improve something that's no good to begin with. It's difficult to separate the versions out. The GX4000 and Amiga versions probably come out top. They've certainly got all the 2-player options as well, and graphically they're wonderful. Slight sprite niggles on GX4000, but you can understand why they did that. And it's nice to see the CPC Plus's hardware sprites in use. The ST version is slightly below those versions. Just something about it, it's not quite as smooth, slightly smaller screen, not quite as good, but there's not much in it. Spectrum and C64 only have the 1-player options, but they're perfectly competent. Spectrum opts for no background at all, presumably to avoid colour clash issues, but they both play pretty much the same. But as I say, the problem here is not the ports. They're all extremely competent and attractive. The problem is the game. This is a third-rate puzzler that simply does not stand up against the competition of today, let alone anything you can play nearly 30 years later.